Something that I have often said, and something I love you, but you're so bad. You cannot go outside, so deal with it. Okay? Why are your eyes so dirty? So gross. My little baby, I love you, I love you, I love you. Okay. I will often say that I had... That little cat is so cute. That little cat has gotten me through some shit. I'll say I had a perfect family. Like when my parents were still married, I've often said that I had a perfect family. Obviously that's not true, or it wouldn't be about my original family, right? My parents divorced for a reason. And even still, like, a lot of the lessons my parents taught me when they were still together, or even going forward, they weren't perfect lessons, but they tried. They tried to be fair people, and they just tried, right? My dad was pretty fucking radical. Like my dad was pretty radical in the way in the lessons that his tone, his verbiage, all of it. And even still, they weren't. My dad is the reason I came home from school. We were living in Germany, and I came home from school, and this little piece of shit kid that my mom used to babysit, his name was Mikey. He had called me the N-word at the bus stop or something, because he was a real little kid. And I came home and I was like, Daddy, what's a blah, blah, blah N-word? And my dad was like, "Brah, never say that." And I was just like, oh God. And then I think he realized, he calmed down very quickly, and he like sat me down and he's like, okay. Now, understand that I was very young. When we lived in Germany, I was like, I was either 5 to almost 8 or 6 to almost 9. I don't know. We were there for 3 years and I was really fucking young, and this was early in Germany. Dad set me down and we were, my mom had given a ride to some people. Germany was still divided by the wall, right? And my takeaway during all of that was, you are so cute, Dumpling. I'm trying to be serious right now. I know, but you're so cute. Like, okay, so I was a little kid. I was living in Germany, and you hear bits and pieces of shit, right? And so basically, at the time that my dad sat me down and explained why the N-word was so bad, this is, in my mind, Germany had a wall, right? And the people were divided. Hitler was still alive. Hitler looked like a giant, like the thing from Legend, right? He looked like a horned devil, right? And he was giant, and he sat on a giant throne, and he had a whip. And if, the Germans wanted to talk to each other, he would whip their asses. If they tried to jump over the wall, he would, like, that was my takeaway from what was going on at the time in Germany and the bits and pieces I had heard of Hitler. And that's how my child brain processed it. That's what was going on. I mean, at this time, you have to understand, I thought little elves lived inside of us, and there were little levers, and that's how you moved your arm or ate. Like, there were little elves that were in charge of all these tasks. And I think I got that because of the Keebler elves. But anyway, Foofy, same for you. You're not going out there. So, Dad sits me down and he's like, it's a really bad word for Black people. You can never say that word. It's the worst word that you can ever say, right? And he goes, Hitler would use that word. That's the kind of word someone like only Hitler would use. And that, Foofy, no. I will get the spray bottle out. So, it was a damn good lesson, because I don't use that word. I know better, right? I have fucked up before, and I learned my lesson, right? Hey! Don't give me those eyes. River? I'm serious. No. Listen to the sound of my voice. It means no. This is angry. That's right. Okay. One time when I was in 4th grade, there was this girl, and I was best friends with her brother. His name was Harvey. I forget her name. But she was mouthing off to me, and I was mouthing off to her, and I was with 2 of my friends at the time. And this is shameful. I really wish I could say that I never called anybody that word. But I was mouthing off, she's mouthing off, and I was with my 2 friends at the River, I'm gonna whip your little butt. I swear. I know you don't even know what that is because you never get in trouble, but you know what? You're about to learn. You know, I don't have my water bottle, but I got, he knows. Okay, so keep going, or do that. This is like not the time for y'all to be in. Oh my God. I really don't smoke around my cats. Awesome. I've got the thing propped open and they think it's outside and it doesn't matter. Anyway, just don't judge me too harshly for smoking in front of my cats right now because they broke in here and they know better. But there's ventilation. Okay, so I'm mouthing off, my friend's mouthing off, and I was in 4th grade and this girl starts calling me a cracker and I don't even know what that is. I'm just like, okay, you suck at insulting people. And my friend was like, oh, that's so bad. And I was like, it's a cracker. Like, I'm not scared of that. Because, you know, little kids can't cuss. I'm probably busy calling her a asshole motherfucker, bitch face asshole motherfucker, because kids can't cuss. And then she tells me I'm a cracker. So, I mean, I'm just thinking, idiot, you know? And my friend's like, oh, no. That is like, that's her calling you the N-word. And I was like, oh, I don't, that's not true. Nothing's worse than the N-word. And she's like, well, this is the same thing. And I'm like, I don't remember that part of the lesson when my dad sat me down, right? But I'm just like, I know better is the point of this. I knew it in my whole heart and my whole soul that being called a fucking cracker was nothing, you know? My friend's like, you got to call her the N-word. And I'm like, no, I sure don't. And my friend's like, yeah, you got to stand up for yourself and blah, 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 and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, well, I do it. I'm standing up for myself right now. And anyway, long story short, she's like, you know, don't worry. I take karate and I'm a black belt. No. She said, I know karate. Because it's like, we all knew that this word that she's telling me to say was just like the evil shit ass word out there, right? It's like she even knew what was going to happen. And I did too. And I deserved it. But anyway, so I fucking called this girl the N-word. Oh my God. And her brother was there and he was my friend. He was a really good friend. Anyway, long story short, Harvey was like kind of holding me down. I'm on the ground and he's like, he's looking down at me and he's like, Amber, I'm sorry, it's my sister. And I'm like, I get it, you know, because I use that fucking word. And he's, you know, his sister whipped my little ass. And she was younger. She was like a 2nd grader. And when it was all said and done, you know, I'm like fucking pulling leaves out of my hair or something. I look at my friend and she just kind of shrugs and she's like, I'm only a white belt. Like, I don't know what you expect me to do. But, you know, that was a learning experience because I deserved what happened. I knew better. I fucking knew better. My dad did a really good job of letting me know that that's an evil, vile, fucked up word. And I knew better. So yeah, there's that. Full disclosure, I've used it before. So, you know, my dad was pretty radical, and I have a lot of memories that are kind of jumbled, and I don't always know if Cody was there or if I was by myself, but my dad really, he's in the Army, right? And I don't know if that was like a thing where maybe he felt more united at the time with his fellow soldiers, no matter what color they were, but he was very fixated on black people are equal to us, to a point, because he kind of, okay, I'll put it this way. Like, one time my dad was like, he was in the bathroom and it was us and him, or just me and him, and my mom was gone, but the door was open because we were little. This was California. And so I would have been like 5. And there was a birthday going on across the street, and my dad was like, he's like, are those the little white kids, or are those the little black kids having the birthday party? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, you need to find out. And so I go outside and I'm like staring across the street, whatever direction, like to find out, and I come back, I tell him it's the little black kids, and he's like, okay. And he gives me a $5 bill, and he's like, now don't forget to say yes, ma'am, and say thank you, but they'll let you go to that birthday party. And I remember, I don't know how, if I asked why or whatever, but he explained to me, he was like, a black mama will be grateful that you say yes, ma'am, and have manners. A white mama is too busy thinking about what kind of car me and your mom are driving. And, like, okay, but my dad just, so he was clearly, in his approach to like imparting the lesson of equality on his kids, he was also kind of letting us know white people suck, and it's true, Also, you have to understand, my dad was married to my mom at the time, and my mother's family is the classist family I have, right? Classism is a real big problem in my family, and that's probably pretty fresh on his mind at the time, Unfortunately. Anyway, so my dad really tried, And another thing, when I was in Germany, I remember him explaining to me during that talk about the N-word, is he was saying that it's such an unfair, fucked up world we live in that, and this is what I mean by his lessons weren't perfect, right? He's like, the people will elect an unqualified white woman to be president before they will elect a qualified black man. And that required some explaining, And I just remember him saying, because at one point I'm like, well, why can't a woman be president? And he just said, well, it's just always been a man. He's like, maybe one day that'll change, but right now it's always been a man. So, they weren't perfect. But he was just saying that that's the world we live in. It's fucked up. It's not fair. And I can't be part of the problem, And if I use the N-word, I'm part of the problem. And, when my dad would get pulled over and we were in the car with him, he would make us put our hands up. And my dad would be kind of mouthy with the officer. My dad is the reason, anyway, my dad's a character. And we would drive off, and my dad would go off on this tangent about how we better be grateful that we don't know what it's like to get pulled over every 5 minutes, because if we were black, we'd be getting pulled over every 5 minutes and somebody would be going to jail. And so, like, that's the shit I grew up hearing. Like, I knew that it wasn't fair. Things weren't fair. Because I was white, automatically there were certain things that I would never understand or never have to deal with because of my skin color, and that I should be very aware of the struggles of black people. Like, that was a really big deal for him to, like, let Cody know that. And I remember, you learn about, at least it was 5th grade. 5th grade is when you learn about racism, like where it comes from, right? You learn about slavery. I was so fucked up. Who wasn't fucked up? Like, y'all remember that shit. You learn, oh my God, you learn about yeah, I'm the quintessential fucking, like, example of the crybaby white bitch. Like, it's so, it hurts my heart, and all of it. You learn about the slave ships and how there was no room down there. And anyway, I came home and I was like, Daddy, oh my God, I couldn't wait to talk to my dad about it. I was like, did you know, did you know that we used to have slaves? And my dad scoffed and he said, used to. Huh. He's like, we call it something different now. We call it the prison system. He said, but everything you, oh God. I swear though, how the fuck those people could do that to people and not be haunted just blows my fucking mind. I don't care if that's how it was back then. Anyway, my dad was like, we call it something different now, but trust me that slavery still exists. The white man is still trying to control the black man. We just call it the prison system. So my dad was, that's what I mean by my dad was pretty radical in that sense. Like, and that heavily influenced me, right? Like, equality was just a really big deal. My dad also, I mean, like I said, his lessons weren't perfect. One time he said that his biggest fears, and this was when he was drinking, his biggest fears were, his two greatest fears, that Cody would be gay, that I would marry a black man, because the world just wasn't a kind place, you know? And it was like, you know, why wasn't he scared that Cody would marry a black woman or that I would be a lesbian? Like, I feel like that distribution there, how it's, you know, that's a little sexist in itself, right? Because it's like, anyway, fucking, my dad was just really, really all about, he really wanted his kids to understand that there were things we could never understand because we were white, and that we had to pay attention, pull our heads out of our asses, and speak up if given the opportunity. Because but he also, though, the thing is, though, when my dad would say this stuff, I didn't exactly have this great hope that we could help change the world. He was just, it was kind of like this fatalist, this is how it is, and it's fucked up, and don't be like that. He didn't use the word ally, but he was like, just try to be a friend and try to be fair and try to stick up for people when you see this shit go down, you know? Like, but it was very much like, this is how it's always going to be, you know? And it was a really big deal when, I was so excited voting for Obama the first time. And my dad voted for Obama the first time. And I asked him if he remembered the conversation that I just told you about, and he actually didn't, unfortunately. But yeah, you know, but a lot of the things that my parents, a lot of it had that do the right thing. Like, I'm sure that I'm not unique in recalling the lessons I had growing up. There was the general takeaway was do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right thing. When my mom was the field trip mom, right? My mom was able to be a field trip mom. And there was one time where, you know, the moms had to select another little kid to be with their group. And my mom gets that stinky girl who's always picking her nose. And I'm just like, oh God, why her? And my mom's like, shame on you, because she needs somebody to be excited to pick her. Look, she's all by herself. She's not expecting anybody to choose her. And I was like, you know, and these things didn't click right away, right? I was just too young and I was an asshole apparently. But later I'm at a party in high school, my brother's there, and we're talking, and it was kind of rare for that overlap to happen. I didn't run into my brother at many parties. And my brother is like, okay, well, I'm gonna go talk to so-and-so. And I look at so-and-so, and so-and-so was kind of a little smarmy fuck. And he was just irritating, annoying, and I was like, why are you gonna go talk to so-and-so? And my brother looked at me and he said, because nobody else is. And it was like, by that point, that was an instant, like, I mean, I knew better and I was properly shamed right away. But there are other things, you know, like I did not realize I was such a slut shamer in high school, and I sure as fuck didn't click to the fact that I was being a bully. Foofy, I'm gonna bully your fucking ass, I swear to God, Kitty Witty. I know you've been having a hard time. Come on. Anyway, as much as my parents tried very hard to like impart this, do the right thing, da 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 da, a lot of things slipped through the cracks. There was one time, like, it's fucking hard to be a teenage girl. And I speak from the only experience I have, and that's being a white teenage girl, okay? Living mostly in a tiny little town that's white as fuck, you know? And I'm just really deeply ashamed to know that there is somebody that I absolutely very much was aware I was bullying. And my reasoning at the time was she got a friend of mine in trouble, but I could have defended my friend and that could have been over real quick, you know? Instead, I was a fucking asshole, and that's a shame that I deserve to feel, and I'll probably feel it forever, and that's deserved. It's fucking deserved. But anyway, yeah, that shit burns my heart. It really does. But you're so shaped by your experiences in high school that I can only imagine that, like, since I was a contributing factor to making her experience so shitty, that it very well could have shaped her in a way going forward. So fuck it. Like, if I'm gonna feel like a piece of shit for the rest of my life for that, that's like, it's a fucking deserved punishment, honestly. River, I'm gonna have to stop this because River is just a naughty little cat in my... I've got to fix this. I'm smoking in there. So 22 minutes. This will be part 1.